So welcome everybody. So today's focus is going to be on the lungs and large intestine meridian line, but let me show you where those meridian lines run in the body so that you have a little understanding of why we practice in the way we do. So the lung is the starting point of the meridian circuit, and the lung meridian line starts from around about where the lungs are, and it simply travels through the inside of the arm towards the hand. Okay, so it runs on the inside of the arm. And that means that anytime we're in shapes where we're taking the arms away from center, which is lifting the chest upward, is going to stimulate the energy in these meridian lines. And when we are stimulating the energy in these meridian lines, we're helping to create a better sense of balance in those meridian lines, okay? Now, that's the yin meridian on the inside of the arm. The large intestine runs on the opposite side. So it actually runs along the back of the arm, and it runs across the shoulder to the back of the neck. And then it travels across to the front, and it goes up and over the nose and comes and finishes on the opposite side of the nose. Okay, so it runs on the back of the arm and across to the opposite side of the face. So anytime then we're bringing the arms closer together or kind of wrapping them around us, even in that position, we're stimulating the large intestine meridian line. Now, the shapes that we'll focus on today, because we're a shorter period of time than a full 60-minute class, is going to be primarily lung focused, and I'll explain why as we're going through the practice. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on opening up the chest. So let's get started then. So I'm going to get you to grab your cushion, your bolster, and just place it behind you. And I want you to take one of your blocks, okay? And if you're working with a soft cushion, grab both of your blocks. And let me show you that. So I'm just going to move the cushion to the side. I'm going to take my block onto the second height towards the back of my mat. And I'm going to take the other block just underneath the cushion here, so in a kind of first height position. And then I'm going to take my cushion and rest it on top. Okay, I'm going to rest it on top. Now, some of you might feel like you want to work with just the blocks, okay, which makes it a little bit stronger, in which case you're going to take the second block onto the second height, and it will sit underneath the base of the ribs here, okay? So there are a couple of options there for you, and I will show you with a cushion, and then I will move to the other option. So legs are going to be relaxed out as if we were in Savasana. And there's going to be a little bit of a gap between your lower back and the cushion if you're using the cushion. And of course, if you're using the block, you're going to lie down with the block underneath the shoulder blades. And you're just going to lie yourself down over the cushion. Head is supported, scooping the buttocks under so there's a little bit more space in the lower back. And then taking the arms out a little wider than you might normally. Okay, so we don't want to have them in close to the body. We want to take them out a little bit wider so that you feel right away some sensation through the inside line of the arm here. Okay, so straight away we're stimulating the energy here. Let the feet fall freely in whichever direction they naturally want to fall. And then make any little adjustments that you need to here with your props. And decide if you want to work with the block or the cushion. And then from here, you'll simply close your eyes. Closing your eyes, and as you close your eyes, you'll soften the space in between the eyebrows. Soften the space around the outside edges of your eyes as well. And take a moment to relax around the corners of the mouth. Notice where the tongue is, and if you happen to find the tongue resting in the roof of the mouth, see if you can just gently relax that away. And notice how that simple easing around the muscles around the eyes and the mouth and the forehead, the relaxing of the tongue allows you to feel a little bit more ease around the jaw and the neck. Notice now as you soften those areas around the jaw and the neck, how the shoulders are feeling. And see if you can let the shoulders just relax down either side of your cushions or your blocks. Becoming aware of that gentle rising and falling of the chest area. The lungs sitting just above the heart, beneath the ribs. Beginning to expand as you draw that fresh energy into them from the outside world. Notice how the ribs lift upward, but also out to the left and right side of your body. Notice how when the exhale begins, everything draws back towards center, and yet you're still lifted through the heart just a little from the help of your props. Notice how the shoulders are just becoming more and more relaxed, and that lifting of center becomes a little more natural, more easy. Some of you might even begin to take the arms a little wider again from center, fingers nice and relaxed. And becoming aware of the breath naturally starting to slow down as we bring our attention entirely to the breath now. Letting go of anything that was happening in the world, in your world before this moment. Letting go of things that you were doing, things that you were reading about or thinking about, conversations that you've already had. Things that happened in the hours or days or weeks or months before this moment. And just putting them to one side without any attachment. And then letting go of any thinking about the future. Two places that the mind tends to wander are right back to the past, things that have already been. Things that we have no control over anymore, they've already happened. And then we try to create this sense of control about the future based on the past, or sometimes we can't get away from the past. We're stuck in our thoughts of things that have already happened. And by noticing the breath and that feeling of energy coming into the lungs, into our system, we start to become more easily aware of the here and now. The practice of mindfulness begins. And in Chinese medicine, the lungs are thought to be the minister of the heavens. The first point in which energy arrives into the internal world directly from the outside world. So the quality of the breath that we draw in from the outside world is thought to dictate the health of everything else inside of us. And that's when it starts to become really valuable for us to become aware of the breath. In becoming aware of the breath, it naturally deepens. And then with every breath out, we're letting go of anything that's inside of us that we no longer need. So this process of letting go of the past so that we can receive in the here and now. Not in the future, just in the here and now. So with every breath that you take, can you become aware of that sense of deepening, expanding and rising around the lungs, around the heart? And then become aware of the power of that exhale, almost like a pushing out of anything we no longer need. And as you notice the breath coming and going, the lungs doing their thing, let me tell you a little bit about their partner organ, the large intestine. We can almost also think of this as a detoxification organ in its own right as well. It's receiving nutrients from the food that we take in. But it's also receiving nutrients from the emotional things that we take in as well. So if we're filling ourselves up with lots of self-doubt, lots of concerns about the past or attachments to things from the past, we're not freely allowing ourselves to be in the here and now. And then the system gets a little clogged. The system is trying to detox, to let go of the things that we no longer need, but we're holding on. And that sense of holding on then creates a blockage in the system. And so I want you to think about the lungs and large intestine as working together to create this sense of vibrancy within. Drawing energy in, taking in what we need for the present moment, and then letting go of everything else. So that we can create this sense of continual balance, this sense of ease within our system, both mentally and physically. Allowing ourselves to notice how we're feeling in the here and now. Notice how we consume our thoughts, where our attention goes. so that we can build ourselves up with this sense of self-worth, of courage, instead of this unhealthy attachment that sometimes forms to things that we no longer have or no longer need to have. So we've been here a little while now, so I want you to just take 2 more breaths for me. 2 more breaths with your fullest awareness of how deep and indulgent and relaxing they make you feel. And then you'll slowly, when the second breath is complete, I want you to just notice how you feel in this moment. Noticing how the breath has slowed down from when we started. The shoulders have relaxed, this feeling of space around the heart, around the lungs and chest. The softness around the belly. And this feeling of really being here in this moment. Just taking 1 more breath. And we'll walk the arms in just a little closer towards our body once we've finished that breath, and turn the palms down to face the ground. Have a little bend in your knees, let the feet come to the earth. And we're going to push into the hands as we draw the chin to the chest and just slowly lift ourselves up for a moment. And let's wrap our arms around the shins. Chin draws to the chest and your eyes can stay closed or close them if they open. And I want you to guide your breath around to the back of the lungs. The lungs physically sit on the front, the back, and the side of the body here. So notice how it feels to breathe into the back of the lungs. And at the same time, with the arms briefly wrapped around our legs, there's a little separation of the shoulder blades away from each other, which allows us to briefly stimulate the large intestine meridian line here on the back of the body, the back of the shoulders, the upper back. Back of the arms. And continuing to be aware of being here in this moment. Anytime the mind wanders away to things from before or thinking about the future, just come back to that practice of noticing the breath. 1 more breath here. And you'll just slowly begin to open the eyes, rolling yourself up to a seat. And let's just lean around behind us and clear our mat of any props at all. So we don't need any props for this next shape. So move everything off the mat so that you've got maximum space. Okay. And then we're going to roll ourselves onto our belly and just slowly come up to the top left corner of your mat. Okay. Now we're going to come into a shape, and let me show you seated first of all. When we're lying on our belly, we're going to take our arm out to the side of the room here. It's going to be kind of parallel to the top of the mat. Palm is going to be facing the ground, okay? So that's our position. And you'll go ahead and take the right arm out first of all. You're going to roll onto the right side of your head, right side of your body. And once you're there, bend the left knee and place the foot, if you can, behind the right leg. Okay, and then left hand can either stay on the ground in front of your chest, or you can simply bend the elbow and just rest the hand behind the back. Okay, so we're stimulating through the inside line of the right arm here. And if your arm is behind you on the left side, then a little bit through this arm as well. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable on the legs, bend the knees and just rest the knees on top of each other here. So we're still focusing on the arm, but without the pressure of the legs doing anything at all. So go ahead and just settle into this shape, closing your eyes once you arrive. Visualizing where the meridian line runs along the inside of the arm here. And know that with every breath that you're taking, you're creating this sense of ease and health within your own system. The emotion that sometimes presents itself when there's an imbalance with the lung and large intestine partnership can be a sense of sadness, a sense of grief. And it might be a feeling of not really having so much of your confidence, a little lack of our self-worth. And yet when we're in balance, we recognize it as people who are full of courage, full of their self-confidence, aware of their own value. And it's interesting then that this partnership of meridian lines is linked into the element of metal. And the element of metal is linked in, of course, to minerals and metals such as gold and silver that are so valuable to the earth and the quality of the earth. And they remind us every single day that we see them or wear them, the value of them, the quality that they have. So I want you to think about this sense of confidence, this sense of empowerment that we're building by keeping ourselves in this place of balance, creating good health in the lungs and the large intestines, allowing ourselves to be present in the here and now, resisting the urge to hold on too much to the past. And with time, practicing to let go of any attachments that we find ourselves lingering towards. And when we let go of these attachments, we start to build our sense of courage and confidence and this ability to move forward into the unknown and enjoy the moments that we're in along the way without any worries, without any fear, without any feelings of having lost things from before. I'm going to take 3 more breaths on this particular side. And when the 3rd breath is finished, let's place our left hand in front of our chest and straighten out the left leg if it's bent. Just gently roll yourself back onto your stomach here and either make a pillow with your arms for your head to rest on, or I like to turn to rest on the left side of my head and bring my right arm back alongside the body. And just give the fingers a little wiggle if it feels like that's a good idea or you've lost a little sensation. And just pause for a moment. Pause for a moment in stillness. Notice if there's any sensation around the shoulder or the inside line of the arm. Sometimes that can present itself as a warmth or a tingling, a coolness. And this practice guides us to become more observant about the present moment that we're in, to notice what we need and how that changes and evolves as time and days and experience pass by. 2 more breaths here. And when your 2nd breath is complete, just begin to place the hands in a position that allows you to move your body over to the top right corner of the mat now. Taking your left arm out to the left side of the mat, palm facing down. Go ahead and roll yourself onto the left side of your body, left side of your head, and then bend the right knee. Let the foot come to the ground. Right hand can either stay in front of your chest, can take the arm behind you with a bend in it, just resting it to the ground behind your back here. Remember, you can bend the knees and let them rest on top of each other. And you can also just let that hand rest to the ground in front of you, no pressure to take it behind your back. And then go ahead and close your eyes, settle into this place of being here right now. Nowhere else to be, nothing else to think about, nothing else to do. And take a moment to just notice what's going on in your own world right now. Take a moment to think about your own unique strengths, the things that you have that make you feel confident in who you are. Think about the things that are moments in time where you've had to perhaps let go of something, to be able to step forward and to step into that more confident space that you find yourself in right now, perhaps. And this practice is always inviting us to self-reflect, self-study, svadhyaya. Take a moment without me talking to just notice how you're feeling, how you're doing physically and mentally. We tend to come to the practice of working with the lung and large intestine meridian lines predominantly around the season of autumn, a time when the weather gets a little bit more damp, a little more windy, more chill in the air, just moving out of summer. And it's a time when we need to take care of our lungs, the health of them, our sinuses, our nose, our throat, all of these areas that are affected by this time of year and allergies. Another sign that can tell us when things are a little out of balance is that we might be more susceptible to colds. We might have allergies presenting themselves. We may even struggle with bronchitis from time to time. On an emotional level or a more practical level, we might be experiencing feelings of kind of being a little stubborn in our thoughts, a little inflexible on how we approach life. We might feel a little like there's not the strength of character to see things through, lots of ideas, but not really making things come to fruition. Sometimes we might tend to focus on the dark side of life, the things that are not working, versus the things that we're really excited about, the things that are so good in our world. So whenever you notice these tendencies in your own behavior, just taking time to slow down, take care of the lungs, practice some of our shapes that we're sharing today, and allow yourself to take time to recharge. 2 more breaths here. And when the second breath is complete here, we're going to place the right hand back in front of us on the ground. If it isn't already there, straighten out the right leg if you need to. And just gently, gently roll yourself over onto your belly. And either make a pillow with your arms for your head to rest on, or rest on the right side of the head and let the left arm come back alongside the body. A little wiggle of the fingers here. And just notice how you're feeling after the second side. If while you were in the shape, or perhaps the feeling after the shape, feels similar or different to the first side. Notice how you're feeling in your mind. Sometimes we have this impression that the practice will only feel beneficial when we've done a really long amount of time, but just 2 shapes is often enough for us to feel this sense of calmness and presence arriving into the body. Now when you finish the next breath that you're on, just go ahead and roll yourself onto your back. Use your hands to help you, and some of you might like to take hold of your cushion and just rest it underneath the knees for Savasana. Take a moment to lie yourself down. Cover yourself if you need some extra layers, or perhaps cover your eyes. And let's take the arms out just a little wider than the body here, palms facing up and the fingers nice and relaxed. Take a moment to let the whole of the back line of the upper body at least melt down towards the ground. Closing the eyes once you're settled. And just taking a moment here to be still. Noticing and absorbing all of the benefits of the practice. And then settling into this place of simply being in the here and now. Letting go of everything that happened in the moments before this one. Just take a moment to bring a little movement into the fingers and the toes, a little awareness. Begin to reach the arms ever so slowly up overhead, inviting a nice long full body stretch. Draw the knees in towards the center of the body and just gently roll yourself over to the left side of your body, left side of your mat. And then keep your eyes closed, just gently push the ground away from you. Coming up to a comfortable seat and just rest your hands on your lap for a moment. Notice how you feel. And let's invite the opportunity to either join me for 10 rounds of breath or stay in stillness here if you prefer. We're going to work with an alternate nostril breathing technique, which is a great breathing technique for this particular partnership and meridian line. So if you're familiar with it, you can begin to set your hand up. If you're not so sure, take a look at the screen and you'll see what I'm doing. My left hand is going to stay where it is, and my right hand, I'm going to take the first two fingers and place them either into the palm of my hand or rest them on my forehead area here. And I'm going to use the thumb to close the right nostril and the ring finger to close the left nostril. Okay, so take a moment to just sit up tall, place the fingers on the forehead or in the palm. And together we're going to take a big breath in through both nostrils. Big breath out through both nostrils. One more like this. Big inhale through both nostrils. A big exhale through both nostrils. At the end of the exhale, close the right nostril with the thumb, and the next inhale begins on the left side. Swap the fingers over so you're exhaling on the right side. Inhaling on the right side. Swap the fingers to exhale on the left side. Inhale on the left side. Swap the fingers, exhale on the right side. Inhale on the right side. Swap the fingers, exhale on the left side. And just keep on going with your own rhythm. We're going to take 5 more rounds of breath from here, just a simple movement from side to side. When your 5th round of breath is complete, just rest the hand back down to the knee or the lap. Coming back to breathing through both nostrils together. And notice how it feels to be breathing through both nostrils together once again. Awareness of how it felt to move from one side to the other, if things felt balanced between the left and right side, or a little unease. And then just take a moment to notice your mood, your energy. Becoming aware once again of that spaciousness around the heart and the chest, the lungs. Bringing our hands to meet together at heart center. Bowing our head to our hands in gratitude for the practice, in gratitude for our health. Namaste.